Bet you thought slavery was abolished. Think again. Part 3. Do free men pay income tax? The question here is, do you consider yourself to be free? Many will answer, well, yes, they are free. Most in the Western world would say that, at least because we are told that we are free. Here in Australia that is the case. Now, I would ask you, if you had a 100% income tax rate leaned against you, would you still consider that free? Would that be slavery? What does 100% income tax leaned against you mean? Well, your labor. They would take the lot and claim that to be theirs. Would you consider that slavery? Most agree that yes, a 100% income tax rate would be considered slavery. A thing called cognitive dissonance will come into play when I ask this next simple question, which is a biological defense mechanism, whereby when a piece of information comes to you that challenges your worldview, the foundation in which you view reality, this is the defense mechanism that causes you to reject new information. If you cannot rationalize it and fit it within the parameters of your worldview, you will reject it, which is fine when you are rejecting something that is not true. But it is a detriment to society when the information you are rejecting is true. Now this is a thought exercise. So if we can pretty much all agree that 100% income tax is slavery, our thought experiment goes like this. I want you to start counting backwards from 100. And I want you to tell me, at what number, at what percentage, with income tax, you would stop being a slave. And you would be free. That is it. It is that simple. Now you must pick a percentage. I would love to know. Say you pick 30%. What you are saying is at 30% you are free. And at 31% you are a slave. Freedom and slavery is like being pregnant. You either are, or you aren't. You might have a better slave master who does not ask as much of you than the other slave master next door. But in the end, you are still a slave. This is how you will know if you are able to apply critical thinking, and whether you are able to apply it, irrespective of the effect it has on your worldview. If you cannot name a percentage, then you are a part of the cog mind. It is not that hard. It is a simple question. This is because as soon as you speak it into existence, it requires you to either admit you are a slave or fight for your freedom. People do not want to fight for their freedom, and they do not want to admit they are slaves. People will say, well, you have to pay your taxes. Well, that is not the question. That is irrelevant to the question being posed here. The question is about freedom or slavery, not whether you think you must pay your taxes. It is this simple. It has nothing to do with whether you have to pay your taxes. And if you think you have to pay your taxes, then just admit you are a slave and pay them. People will say, well, I am happy to pay income tax. Well, are you happy to pay 100%? They will often say, well, they won't ever do that. This is not the point. And by the way, when one looks at the Australian tax code, the New Zealand tax code, the Canadian tax code, the US tax code, the United Kingdom tax code, there is nothing in legislation in any country that says there is a and Y sort of limit imposed. There is nitrogen monoxide agreement between we the people in a and Y country that says our income tax rate cannot or will not be raised above, or can never exceed, any certain specified number or percentage. There is nothing that says they cannot raise the income tax to 100%. There is nothing that is written in legislation that says there is a maximum income rate could never exceed blah blah. The fact they will most likely never raise the income tax rate to 100% is not the point. The fact of the matter is that they could do it. The fact that they will most likely not is not the issue here. When they raise the income tax rate, do you get a phone call, an email, or a letter from the government asking you if you are okay with that? Raising the income tax rate from 20% to 25%. No, you do not. You do not have a say in the matter. They just do it, and you must comply, because you are a slave. So the question stands, can you face the truth? Or can you not handle the truth? Tell me the percentage of income tax, where you go from being a slave at 100% to being free at what percentage you care to come up with. You might find this hard to answer, because the more you justify a number, the more you realize that slavery has never been abolished. It's simply hidden through deception in the English language. to legally turn you into a corporation that can lawfully pay tax, and like a living man or living woman.